Hello, flatties and globe defenders. It's Critical Think from Down Under here. And today I'm talking with Jerry Williams. Now, he's from Oakland, California, and everybody knows him as Greater Sapien in his YouTube channel. He initially went to University of California at Berkeley as a physics major, then switched to design and illustration at the Academy of Art University. Now, he's spent some time in advertising and retail design, and he's had a side career as a comic book artist. And he's been in his current profession as a graphic designer for litigation for 12 years. And this is where he puts his science and critical thinking mind and his artistic storytelling talents together to teach complex concepts to jurors and judges. He's been making YouTube videos for about 9 years now, initially making videos debunking moon landing deniers, and has begun debunking globe deniers 3 years ago. He started to make a name for himself when his 11 questions flat earthers are afraid to answer video got picked up, and that got a lot of traffic and made a bigger name also after his successful Kickstarter campaign to purchase a ticket on that infamous Polar Explorer flight that regrettably ended up being a fraudulent scheme, selling tickets to non-existent flight. However, undaunted, he's continued to put out solid content, including a series of videos countering the claims and personal attacks of D. Marble. Welcome, Jerry.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad to finally have a chance to have a face-to-face with you.
That's great. Now, I mean, you have your Sunday morning show, and we already know a hell of a lot about you if you've been watching those shows. So I'm going to try and pick some things that maybe haven't been discussed in length before. So how did you get in this side career of writing comic books? I mean, how does somebody get into that?
Well, it's something that I was always kind of interested in. As a kid, I was, a comic fan, and I've always been artistic, being able to draw. And it's just like an itch that I always just wanted to scratch. I have, kind of stories in my head, and I've always had the kind of a gift for storytelling and talking. And so when you have the ability to tell a story through words, and you have the ability to draw things, comics end up being kind of a natural thing. It's an industry that's really tough to break into, so I pretty much stayed on the independent, like small publishing, field of doing short stories and anthologies with friends of mine and other professionals I knew. But it was just one of those things. It's an itch that I had, and I just need to scratch it, and I'm hoping to get back into it again soon.
Sounds like a bit of fun there. How many comics you actually done? Do you know? Counted them?
Let's see. I did a number of short stories for just for independent comics. I think I published 6 or 7 of my own, and did the whole comic circuit. Going to Comic-Con on a regular basis and doing the whole professional behind the booth and signing books and all that kind of thing. Even got into an animation contract for a while, but that business is one of those things where you get optioned out for something and you end up staying in option hell for years. And so it never panned out. But yeah, how many I've done, I'm not exactly sure, but I have to look into it. But I've done, like I said, at least probably about 10 or 15 of other people's books, and then 6 or 7 of my own.
Oh, okay. That's quite a number. Now, you started out studying physics, but then you've given it up for a different career. So what made you switch from physics?
2 things. University of California, Berkeley was quite expensive. And so and I didn't have any scholarships or anything like that. I was in that mode of like making too much money to get like scholarships and things like that, but not making enough to pay for the actual school. But also on top of that, it was the late 80s. Kind of the military industrial complex was kind of running the nuclear industry, and I wasn't quite sure, like, what am I going to do with this? There wasn't the idea of being like a popularizer of science, like a Carl Sagan or something like that, wasn't something I even thought was possible. This was before there was a Neil deGrasse Tyson or anything like that. It was basically Carl Sagan, and it was before Bill Nye the Science Guy. So the idea of being like a popularizer of science wasn't even in my head. You had to go into like the physics industry, and I just couldn't see what I was going to do with the education that I was getting. And so, just thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, and it's actually my mother says, like, you've been drawing your entire life. Why don't you just do that? Why, just do what you always do. And I said, oh, that's an idea. And so I switched over to design and illustration.
So you don't regret that decision, obviously.
No, but now that we do have this kind of culture that allows for talking about science in a way that we didn't have back then. It would be nice to have that little extra credential behind me, just so people will, I just for bragging rights. But it's one of those things that you never let go. If you're a fan of or into math and science like I was, even though I wasn't studying it officially anymore, I never let it go. I continued my education on my own, continued to study, kept up with the journals, continued to do little experiments myself, just because the curiosity was always there. So it never really went away.
Right. Okay. So I can understand that. We all have various interests in life. And I noticed you're also into self-defense and martial arts. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as I started out as a kid as a boxer, I enjoyed boxing a lot, but it was just one of the things that I wasn't able to. Was only able to go so far with it because my parents didn't want to pay for for the damage. It's like, we put too much money into your dental work. We're not allowing you to do any serious boxing. So I only was able to do it on a hobby level. But it's always been kind of part of my like physical workout and something I've always done. But as I got older, and on that, I was also a dancer as a youth. I was part of a kind of a professional dance troupe. We toured. It was jazz and modern. We toured the Midwest as a teen. We did gigs. It was something we did a lot. So I had a dance background, and I had this kind of this boxing background. But as I got older, that stuff starts to wear and tear on you. It just starts to beat your body down. And so I had to think about adjusting what I did. It's like, I'm not a young man anymore. I can't, boxing isn't an old man's game. It's a young man's game. So I had to start thinking of different ways of exercising and learning how to use my body with the idea of, what are you going to do with this when you get older? How are you going to be an old person and do these things? So that's when I started looking at martial arts and self-defense. And my son was looking for something to do, and he was interested in it. And so as I hunted down things that I thought would be compatible with him, I found things that would work for myself. So we both started doing similar martial arts. Me being a little more advanced than him, I was able to kind of go through the ranks a little bit faster, to the point where I'm teaching now. And teaching has been one of those things that's always been kind of part of what I do. I like explaining things to people. And so once I started learning things about how self-defense works and how communication works when it comes to like talking to people and calming them down, and kind of this, tamping down, problem situations, I started teaching that to other people. And so that's something that became very important to me, to be able to help other people achieve their own ability to defend themselves. And the same thing when it comes to science. It's like, hey, I like helping people achieve their own better science knowledge by showing them things.
That's wonderful. Now, I've noticed you managed to keep fairly calm given various circumstances. Is this part of your martial arts training that helps you with that, or have you got something else going on there?
Well, it's funny because people often think, and maybe it is to a certain degree, part of the martial arts. But when I was young, I was just like a hothead. I was like just go off on people type of guy. I would, especially when I was my son's age right now, something was always happening. I was a smart aleck, So if I wanted to get in a fight, I wouldn't start it. I would just get the other person so mad that they would come at me. Yeah. And so then I got to fight them. But as I got older, that tendency to be a hothead and get and fire up real quick, I started to see that it wasn't helpful. It didn't get me to do the things I needed to do. It was actually a hindrance. And so I don't know, something between the ages of like 17 and 24, I just started to just work on it and just to control that impulse to take it to that next level. And in figuring out that kind of mechanism in myself that got me there, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about how other people think, how they react, and so I don't know if I have the ability to kind of put myself in another person's place, so I'm not so mad at them when they kind of go off, and it allows me to keep myself at a certain level, take the ego out of things, and then it's only been enhanced by the martial training, because when you get angry and you do that, you lose control and you cede control to the other person, and so and given the fact that I'm a bit of a control freak, being able to keep control of myself keeps me ahead of the game. If I know I can keep myself level, I don't cede control to the other person. Something I'm trying to teach my students, the type of power that calm and silence gives them, and something I'm trying to pass on to my son.
That's pretty good. Now, as I said, you do maintain a fairly calm demeanour and very patient in with people who are displaying frustrating qualities. And but I have seen you, I have seen, I have seen you drop the F-bomb once there.
Well, it's funny. I was actually my son saw a video recently where I did that, and he thought it was funny. He thought it was funny that so many people commented that it was a big deal. It's like, oh my god, Sapien just said the F word, because he hears me say it all the time. The thing is that when I'm I don't do a lot of like just freestyle videos. I don't just sit in front of a camera and just freestyle it, because I know the opposition will take apart any mistake I make. So I actually kind of write out the things I say. And when I'm writing things out in a calm manner, there's really no need to swear.
Yes.
Just because I'm just writing it out. There's no reason for that. So it's not that I deliberately don't swear and don't curse in my videos. It's just generally there's just not much cause. But there are times when as I'm writing it, I'm starting to get heated, and so it'll be in there, and I'll decide, am I going to leave it? And say, well, that was my natural thing to say when I wrote it, so then I'll leave it in there. But yes, in real life, I tend to actually swear quite a bit. But in these situations, there's just not much need. There's not a need for that kind of emotional level when it comes to the science. I don't know if you can see the shirt that I'm wearing that I just made for myself, and it's selling on the website. It says, "Physics doesn't care if you agree."
Yes.
And because the thing is, it's not about how you feel about things. It's not. And once you get your feelings into it, you're no longer dealing with the science.
Yes.
You're done. We're not. If you're mad about it, there's no reason to be mad about the shape of the Earth. There's not. Or the fact that E=mc squared. There's no reason to be mad about that, or even super happy about it. It just is. And so, once you start getting into that kind of thing, you're not talking about the science anymore. And so, I avoid that as much as possible.
So how do you then explain, or what is your thoughts about it? Why do people get so emotionally involved in the shape of the Earth, do you think?
I think ego has a lot to do with it, because it's really hard to say that you're wrong. I think it's hard for people to say you're wrong. I tell people, and I've said it for years, because I have an older sister, and we used to argue all the time, and she'd say, "You always have to be right," and I'd say, "No, I don't always have to be right. I just try to not be wrong for long," and which is the second I find out I'm wrong, I try to change my mind once I find out I'm wrong. And people aren't willing to do that. They would rather the universe change for them and then change their own mind. And when you attack a point of theirs, they take it as a personal attack because you're attacking their worldview. You're saying they're wrong. You're attacking their character when you're just saying no. That's just how the universe is. They take it personally. They're very personally attached to these things. I'm not personally attached to the shape of the earth. Shape of the earth doesn't care about me. It has nothing to do with me. So why would I get emotionally attached to it? I do get emotionally attached to the topic at times when people start to kind of diminish humanity because of it. When they start to say, well, the earth is flat and people are corrupt and evil for telling us otherwise. I'm like, see, now you're getting on my nerves because we're not talking about science anymore. You're denigrating human beings for talking about science. And that bugs me. When people essentially say that they say, the powers that be are lying, they're actually saying that I'm lying, that their brothers are lying, that the cable installer is lying, the doctors, the teachers, the common person, they're all liars. And that gets to me. That does get to me.
Yes, indeed. From what I've seen, that the main argument for flat Earth, and this is a major topic for us these days, is that somebody looks out and it says, "Oh yeah, looks flat to me." I've not seen much else beyond that.
That's what it comes. A lot of it does come down to that, and that's that whole thing of what it looks like to me is reality. What I think must be fact. What I don't understand must be wrong, and it's a painful thing to admit for some people, but other people do know things that you don't know. It's just the way it is. There are things out there that you don't know, and they are real. And your level of understanding doesn't make reality. Reality isn't limited to your understanding. And some people have a hard time. I love the fact that there are things that are really difficult to understand, and I have to work at it, and I have to figure it out. And I know sometimes it's like, especially when it comes to things like quantum, physics and stuff, it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get my brain around it, but it doesn't mean that it has to be wrong just because Greater Sapien doesn't understand it. It's not the way it works.
Yes, speaking from my experience, there are some very frustrating views, and I do tend to take the mickey out of some of these guys. I'm just wondering whether that's not the best tactic, or whether we should be more sympathetic to the way they feel. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think if you're going to be doing this, you need to be enjoying what you're doing. And if taking the mickey out of somebody actually kind of helps you deal with it and get the points across in your unique way. That's the other thing. I think you should be doing it in your own unique way and in your voice. Then I think it's a completely legitimate way of doing it. If a person is out, making videos and they're trying to put on an air of being this, particularly educated person, or I'm going to be this edgy guy and this is what I'm going to do. It's like, that's not valid. That's not you. I don't do videos unless I feel the need to do it. I think I can do it in a way that someone else is not doing it. I don't try to be repetitive. Which is really frustrating because there's a lot of people out there, and I'm like, Wolfie did this one better than I could. Why would I even do this subject? He did it great. There's no reason to do it. And someone will say, "Are you going to do a video of this?" I'm like, "Why? Go see that video. It was awesome. Go look at Critical Think's video. He did a great video." So the way you do it, if you enjoy it and it's getting the point across, which I think I think I mentioned this to you before. It took me a minute. You caught me off guard when you had your little you had your directional filter label on there or something like that. that was saying that you had flipped it from being upside down because you're down in Australia. I thought that was hilarious. That little kind of ongoing joke about being upside down. It's funny because it's an absurd thing that they're saying. They make these absurd things, comments, and you have to laugh at them sometimes. You just have to, and you do it without being like mean about it. It's not, you're not being like, cruel. You're just like laughing at the joke that it is, and I don't have any problem with that at all.
And I notice it's interesting to me that many of the flat earthers speak so authoritatively on things that they know nothing about, and so convincingly and with self confidence, but truly they know nothing. So, how do they do that?
Now I joke. I have the gift of gab. I can talk. I tell people, look, I can talk for 20 minutes on any subject, whether or not I know what I'm talking about. That's just because I can naturally talk. But I say that jokingly. But there are people who come to me with questions, and I go, I'm not going to answer that question because I would have to go look it up and then repeat what that says, because I just don't know that. And so I legitimately have no problem saying I don't know. That's a really interesting question. Like, how does this particular camera work, and what does a focal length do for us? I don't know. Someone else does. Find someone who does. So the fact that people are willing to so confidently just spout something that's just fundamentally wrong is amazing. Someone said to me the other day that light refraction was causing the light beams to go down, which makes everything appear to be I can't remember what he's saying. The light was going down, which makes the horizon drop and makes everything fall below the horizon. I'm like, well, no, they appear higher. It's like, nope. Since the light beams go down, it falls below the horizon. I'm like, how can you just say that with such confidence when you can just go look it up and see that that's wrong? But they can do it. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I hate to say that because I don't like to be one of those people like, kids these days, I think they know everything. But there's something about this amazing confidence in their own mind that I don't get. I don't have that much faith in myself. I have a certain amount of self-awareness that I don't know everything, even though I'll talk like I do sometimes around the house and they get upset with me. But I know that I don't know everything, and I can't speak that way.
So one final question about flat Earth and that, and I've just been wondering for a long time. I'm trying to work out now: are these people actually that stupid, or is there a deliberate like disinformation campaign or something? I mean, it seems crazy.
Yeah, it does. It does seem crazy. The thing is, it's really hard to tell the difference. You can have someone who is someone came to me the other day in a comment and said something that just sounded like nonsense, and I was like, dude, that's just, how could you think that way? And I corrected him, and he's like, I was just joking. I was just making up something just to troll, and I don't believe that at all. I'm not a flat earther. And I'm like, I couldn't tell. You can't their ideas are so out there that's really hard to tell the difference. I think there are some true believers out there. I don't think like some reason I don't think Jeranism is a true believer. I don't know if Ranty's a true believer, but I think D Marble's a true believer. I think he is. I think he has that much invested in his own self-worth and his own mind and ego that he actually thinks he's right on this. But it's really hard to tell the difference. It's really hard.
Yes, that's right. Anyway,
and the scary thing, and the
yeah.
scariest thing about that, scariest thing about the fact that it's hard to tell the difference is that there are genuinely curious people out there, usually young people. My son is online a lot, and he's constantly looking at things, but he has the sense to, he'll say, hey, Dad, I saw this video on this one thing. What do you think? He comes to me when he sees something that he thinks is weird, or it tweaks his curiosity a little bit. But there are a lot of people who don't necessarily young people that don't necessarily have a person of authority that they can talk to, and they go to the internet for this type of information, and you can't tell the difference between garbage and good. Someone who is completely just BSing you versus someone who actually believes what you're saying. You can't tell the difference, and they absorb it all with equal weight. They give it all equal. Excuse me for hitting the mic. Sorry about that. They give it all equal authority, and that's really tough. And when people ask why I do this, and I'm sure this might be the same for you, but I won't speak for it. Why do I do these things, even though I'm not going to convince any of the flat earthers, or what I like to call them globe deniers, because they're more into denying the globe than they are proving a flat earth. I do this not to try to convince them. I do this to put good information out there for the people who are looking for it. And so when I'm happiest, when I do a quick search on, say, Antonio, Subarats or something, and right next to him is a video by you or a video by me or someone else, so that when someone is looking up this subject and they see something from him, it's immediately there's somebody with good information showing up right next to them. And a lot of people have hit me up and saying, I saw this video by blankety blank, and then your video came up next and I watched it. And I'm like, that's why I do it. Because if you see that disinformation, that bad information, that, corrupt worldview out there, and then you see mine to help check you or check them, that I've been successful. That's what I'm doing it for.
That's a good point. It's very similar for me. Now, I'm very mindful of getting late for you, and
yeah, getting dark.
I know I promised that was the last question, but I just can't resist just one other thing that I'd make a comment about. Flat earthers have very interesting double standards. For instance, I see Wolfie 6020. He's given not thousands, but many videos where you see him in the cockpit. He has knowledge of aviation, everything want to know about it. Aeroplane, he's got the knowledge, and they say, "Oh, how do we know you're a pilot?" And at the same time, someone comes up on a YouTube channel and says, "Oh, I'm a pilot and the Earth is flat." All right, yeah, let's believe that.
Look what this pilot says. This is what this pilot says. It's like, oh, wait, what? He just said it. This is a guy showing you that the actual cockpit, and he's showing out the window. They're in the air. Look. Do you think that he's on a tour and they just let him in there? It's like they don't let you touch that stuff unless you actually have the right to touch that stuff. No, it's amazing, and yeah, it's funny. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I do like the fact that he's done a lot of local videos down there in Perth. I think that's where he is. He's done some down there. It looks like a great area to do a lot of stuff. And I know there's some flat earthers in that region. I don't know why they're not doing more stuff, to challenge, what he's claiming. They're in the same area. It looks like a prime area to do a lot of experimentation. And I'm surprised they're not doing more, but they do the same things, or they rather just do the same experiment over and over again, looking at the same bridge or the same mountainside, than actually get out and do something in an area that has great topography for doing this type of thing. And he's challenged a lot of people to go out and do it, and he says he's flied them out, and they've never taken him up on it. So I don't get it.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I was over at Perth on the weekend, and there's certainly some great spots for observations there, and I was only in one tiny little part of Perth, and I've got a couple of little interesting videos. You're going to see something about that in the future.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, you probably, I don't know if you saw, by the time this comes out, I'll have said it, but that I'm actually going to be in that. I'm going to be going out to Perth soon to do a few things of my own. So I'm going to hopefully put together some good observations as well. It looks like a great area. See what I can do while I'm out there.
Yeah, I have heard a little rumor about that. Oh, there goes me hat. I have heard a little. I had heard a little bit of a rumor about that. Of course, mate, you're going to Perth. What sort of dates are we talking about?
Let's see. I think I'll be out there on the 24th, 25th, like 24th through like the 28th or something like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to be there.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
really? You know,
Yeah.
I've got another trip planned. I'm going to be there around about the same time, mate. Do you think we should get together and do something?
That would be awesome. You're going to be in. Where are you now? You're in Brisbane, right?
Yeah, Brisbane.
But
That's right.
you're going to make it out to Perth.
Yeah. I mean, I just been there on the weekend, and now I've got to go back. And the end of January.
That would be awesome. That would be great. Actually, I have an idea. If you can hold on a second. I got an idea. Be right back. This is going to be awesome. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right with you.
Oh, hang on, mate. Someone at the door. Back shortly.
Hey, yo! Guess what, man? I had to stop you. I told the guy at the front I gave him $20 and he told me where you were.
I did. Weren't you just over here before?
I told you we're going to do this. Hey, let's finish this up over here. Come on, let's take care of this.
Oh, mate, didn't expect to see you so soon.
Yeah, I come up like a bad pill. That's what I do.
How are you handling being upside down?
Oh, this is a trip. I actually had to like weigh my hair down just so it doesn't keep floating up in front of my face. It's crazy. It's just like all the time. All the time. I just want to float up to the top. No, it's cool. No, it's great. I feel lighter. Yeah, it's great.
All right, you're used to it and all that, you know?
Yeah, give me another day. Give me another day. I'll be good. I keep ending up on the ceiling when I wake up, so I had to strap myself down. I don't know how you guys do it, but I'm getting used to it. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, let's finish up the conversation. I when I heard that you were going to be down this way, I figured let's just finish up the conversation here.
Yeah, well, okay, sure. Well, here we are. What, going to do a few observations or something?
Yeah, I got out a little bit today, did a little bit. I'm hoping to get some more observations in this weekend. And actually, it'd be great if we can have some two-man stuff. Maybe we can get together and figure out some longer range stuff and communicate by phone, set something up.
P1000s at 8 kilometers.
Oh yeah, hey, dueling two P1000s. I got one of my own, and we'll be good. Yeah, so I got some free time coming up. I don't know what you're up to. Maybe Sunday, Saturday. Are you doing anything?
Oh, tomorrow I got something special.
Oh, you got something going on? Okay, all right. I'm kind of busy too, so I don't. Maybe that's not a good time. What are you doing, by the way?
Oh, flying to Antarctica.
You kidding me? No, you didn't. Okay. You're not gonna believe this. I'm planning Antarctica.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man!
Yeah, from here, right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Why else would I come to Perth? I mean, no offense to the folks of Perth, but there's a flight going from Perth to Antarctica tomorrow. You're going to be on that one?
Yeah.
All right, then. I guess we know what we're doing.
Wow, great. I'll see you on the plane in the morning.
Yeah, I think actually by the time this video goes up, I think we're going to be taking off. So, yeah, it's going to be great. Both of us with the cameras. I got GPS. We're going to track the whole thing. And actually, I'm going to try to talk to the pilot if I can and see if I can get him to put the GPS in the front of the thing. There's no harm in asking.
So you think we might be able to find the ice wall?
Well, with the with the P1000, we should be able to see the ice wall from here, right? It's the thing. The P1000 is like the camera that can see the hair on God's behind. So we should be able to see the wall from here. But so definitely we'll see what we can see tomorrow.
I also want to get some pictures of those RPG armed penguins.
Penguins, yeah. I hear they are vicious. Yeah. I hear they are vicious, but yeah. No. Hey, who knows? There could be some tragic accident, and everyone will say, "See, look, they ran into the wall." I know some of them right now are going, please have a crash. But if you're watching this, it didn't crash. Yeah, because we had a chance to upload it, so too bad.
But they'll see this before.
And they're not going to understand the logic of it anyway. So yeah, it's like a whole Matrix thing. So don't worry, let's not worry about it. It involves math, relativity, and syllables with more, words with more than 2 syllables in it. So they're not going to quite get it.
Well, this sounds like a great adventure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I don't know about you, but it is kind of late, and we got to get up early.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we should sign off. Do you have a particular sign off you'd like to do on these?
No. Just, not tonight. I'm too tired.
Okay, well, I'll do my sign off, and then you can do yours. You know I always have the same sign off. Try to learn something about the world today that you didn't know yesterday. If you can, help someone else learn the same, and enjoy yourself while doing it. Take care, everybody.
What he said.